Renegade Squadron will be giving away an Avenger Titan starter pack in June. If you want to enter, all you have to do is like, subscribe, and leave a comment on this or any video we release from now until June 30th. You will get one entry for each individual video you comment on this month, and winners will be picked and announced on July 1st.
Audio's coming up, and podcast is on.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Doing well.
We're here. We're I guess ready to do the Renegade Squadron podcast number 4. Tonight we're with Golo in the top left,
hey
Jolly in the top right, Lt-Reyne in the bottom right or bottom left, and Nohman in the bottom right. No camera on Nohman tonight. He's
Yeah, sorry guys, I got my kiddo in here hanging out with me in the office, so we're keeping the camera off.
Yep. I guess we can pretty much just get started. Let's see.
So what are we talking about today, mate?
Oh, we've got a few things we were going to go over. I wanted to touch on a little bit the Inside Star Citizen creatures and Microtech stuff. We wanted to go into the new player experience a little bit. Maybe a little bit more than just a little bit on that one. And then just some technical stuff with which is sort of the servers and maybe some of the ways that sales are going.
Cool. Let's go for it.
Yeah. So I guess we can probably just get this one out of the way right away, since it's probably going to be a shorter topic, is the Inside Star Citizen with the creatures in the Microtech Flagship store. I was checking that out the other day, and I thought it was pretty cool. The creatures that they're working on look like they're coming along really nicely. It would be, I don't know, my only thing that I thought was weird was that they're just starting that, but I guess they have a ton of concept art already that they can pick through and kind of go with that. Looks like they're doing they're trying to base everything off of different animal archetypes that lions, bears, whatever, just the way different animals already behave. I don't know. Did you guys take a look at that?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I think it's going to be really cool to be able to see different types of, life that we can interact with. We might not necessarily be at the top of the food chain on a certain planet or moon. I think that'd be so cool, especially in the caves, right? So imagine just being in a cave, trying to get your mining on, and next thing you know, you got freaking animal coming in there, or you got a bear in the cave with you.
Did you know that
you might have to ask for a backup to take this bear down while you're hanging at some ledge in the cave?
Does anyone think that the bear, some of the creatures and stuff, are straight out of Star Wars Empire Strikes Back? You know, when Luke's sitting there upside down in the frozen to the ceiling, and he's going for his lightsaber, and all of a sudden you see this kind of I don't know what the hell this creature was, but I remember when I saw the episode, I looked over and it's like, hang on a minute, that looks like kind of one of the creatures from Star Wars. There's a couple of homages to Star Wars in this, I think, but yeah, they look pretty cool, the creatures.
Got some space crabs.
The space crabs. Could you imagine? They look pretty scary.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's going to be hard to deal with. I feel like I'm just going to get looked at by one of those things and die. So
what I want to know is if there's proper splatter mechanics.
It's gonna be Doom meets Star Citizen,
matters, guys.
It's literally gonna end up in a Doom simulator. That'll be so funny.
Hey guys, there's some positive. We finally might get some window washer, window wipers on the ships. Just kidding,
mate.
Yeah,
space cats. That's a question. Are there going to be space cats? Who knows? Maybe. I hope so. One of the interesting things I think, just taking a step back and getting away from sort of all the hype, is how far away do you think these do you think these things are, these creatures? Are we talking 6 months, a year, 2 years before we see them? Because I know we've had art kind of assets like that before, and I think it's all cool, but is it real yet? I don't know. I mean, it's gonna. Is it? I mean, I know it's concept art right now. How important is it? Okay, it's nice, and in a fleshed out universe, it's going to be awesome. But like, we're talking a couple of years away, maybe a year. What do you reckon, guys?
I think it's coming with Pyro, to be honest.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think that's what I said. Pyro.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh.
I think we'll have creatures in the Pyro system to deal with, which will be super fucking cool. But yeah. Mainly I say that because they like mentioned it in the video. They were talking about like being in Pyro and being planet side and coming across some of these creatures. So I don't know when Pyro's coming. So
that's another question, right? Like that really kind of gets me excited for that. But I think they wanted kind of the whole wormhole system to be kind of fleshed out for that, right? Like making jumps.
Yep.
So, and that's what they want. What 4.0 with that? I think Pyro.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. 4.0, I think,
it's
is
gonna be 4.0.
4.0. So what?
Well, who knows when 4.0 is coming, because they're talking about 3.10.
So Pyro is basically what, lawless, derelict kind of system, right? Pyro, the planet, is basically a volcanic. I think they've shown some pictures in Inside Star Citizen a few times. So what do you reckon? Space crabs first? I don't think we're going to see the sort of, the hairy kind of gorilla-looking monsters yet, but what do you reckon? Space crabs just popping out of the volcanoes or something? Or
Space crabs would be cool. Yeah, I would say we'll probably see space crabs. Oh man, something makes me want to say we're going to see space whales and Pyro.
I was literally just thinking that. I was like, dude, what about space whales, right? We've got cows and we've got whales. Maybe we're going to see space whales in the Pyro system floating around. That would be kind of funny.
I thought that was really interesting. Just a couple months ago, people were like, I remember being in Discord and just sort of talking about space whales. And everybody thought it might still be a joke, but they've definitely like confirmed space whales in the Inside Star Citizen. So
yeah. Anyways, I mean it's all cool. It's interesting. Can't wait to see the universe get flushed out. Probably not very big on priorities as far as I'm concerned at the moment. But one of the things I'm always, I guess, amazed with is every time I land on a planet, I see something new, right? Which is not very often, but every time I land on a planet, I see something new. And if the next thing I see is a goddamn space whale floating through space, or a space cow, or a freaking space crab, I'm going to be super impressed. It's probably going to, a year will go past and all of a sudden it'll be space crabs. Awesome.
That's something I don't want to catch.
Space crabs.
Porcupine, how about space combat? Dude, forget space combat. We are talking about space crabs now, okay?
Jolly's going to be farming some space crabs.
Mate.
Go flying around Daymar and bullseye some womp rats, dude. My teeth.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hey, I got a question for you guys.
Yeah?
What kind of loot do you think they drop? You think we'll get some space crab armor?
Well, here's the thing, guys, right? I don't know if you guys saw, I think it's one of the videos, they had essentially kind of the building blocks thing they showed in one of the Star Citizen videos. And that could be our inventory. Who knows, right? So they just kind of showed how they could dynamically scale it and in different like blocks and units. So who knows? Another thing to be excited about.
Space poop out of space crabs. You can mine it. You make money out of it. Why not? Let's do it.
That's how you harvest quantum fuel, my dude.
Quantanium.
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 Love it. Mate, let's talk about something I wanted to talk about was the new player experience. I've seen a lot of new guys kind of popping up recently, like with all the new sales. I mean, Star Citizen's making, shed loads of money, so it's probably coming from new players, I guess. A lot of original backers and new players. I think we were going to talk about Microtech, the ship store. I think we jumped over a subject, but is it okay if we talk about the new player experience for a little while?
Yeah, for sure, man. Let's jump into it.
So
new player experience is a little bit convoluted. So
yeah, I mean, but look, as a new player coming into Star Citizen, I mean, I remember when I first started. Was it back in 2013? There weren't that many choices. You buy like a package, you get in there, you do a few things, you fly around. Well, you weren't even flying around there. You looked at it in your hangar. Now, when a new player rocks up, they've basically got a barrage of shit. What do I buy? What do I do? Where do I go to learn stuff? Blah 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 blah. Right? And I got to say, as a new player today, I mean, thank God for streamers. There's a shit ton of really, really good streamers out there that are really helpful. First thing a player asks for is, what ship should I buy? Where do I go to learn to fly the ship? How do I understand, where do I learn to do this, and this? And I think CIG's kind of dropped the ball. Yeah, exactly. Go buy an Idris. Like, what do I buy an Idris? Can I get away with do I have to spend $1,000 or can I spend, $20 on this game? And I've got to say, CIG's probably done a pretty poor job on, A, the website is really difficult to navigate, and B, giving a new player the sort of, stepping stones they need to sort of move up and understand how to play this game. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's so. I was just thinking about this kind of all throughout the week, and honestly, I think that it would be a lot easier if they went with a different system for purchasing your first game package, where you kind of chose if you wanted either just Star Citizen or Star Citizen and Squadron 42. And then it takes you, once you pick one of those, they have their base price of whatever, like $15 or like, what is it, $20 for $25 or something. And then it takes you to a whole nother screen and it tells you you'd like to pick a ship to add on, right? And then you can sort of pick from a few basic ships to add to your starter package. Maybe, I guess, if they really wanted to go in depth with it, they could let you pick any ship. But I think, again, that's just too complicated for a brand new player, right?
Mm.
And so I think maybe sticking to, like, honestly, just like 4 ships, like Cutlass Black, the Aurora, the Mustang, and the Avenger.
And
right?
Tana.
Or the Tana.
Well,
yeah.
Reliance.
Right. So, or the Reliance, and maybe throw the Gladius in there as like a fighter. And then maybe instead of just having like the names of the ships and then the price underneath, they could sort of like have maybe even just bullet points or something simple to explain what each of those things are good for, so that the new players, when they jump in and they're looking at the ships they want to pick, they can be like, oh, I want to do this kind of thing. That looks cool. And then they can select that as an add-on, and then just go to checkout, versus what we have now, which is, honestly, I don't even know. I go there and it's it's frustrating just to look at, even as a veteran player, right?
I mean, I spend. Sorry to cut you off there. Go
ahead, Nohman.
I was just gonna say, I spend a lot of time doing guides, and I always run into the same roadblocks with these people. If they haven't purchased a ship yet or a package, I find myself having to explain to them, okay, well, yes, it has insurance. We don't really know what insurance is going to be just yet. I get questions like, well, this package has 1,000 starting UEC, but this one has 5,000 UEC. Does that matter? Is that important? And then I have to explain to them, okay, well, you want to make sure you get a ship with a package, with an actual game package. If you go out and you buy the 300i, for instance, it's not going to come with the game package, so you're not going to be able to play the game. And it's so convoluted and confusing. You have cross-chassis upgrades, LTI, non-LTI, You know, ships with packages, ships without. It's just it's so confusing and convoluted, especially for somebody that's just getting into the game. It's almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to speak to that a little bit, Noman, I think you're right. That's why I think they just need to simplify it down to like if you don't already own a game package with one of these like say 4 or 5 starter ships. Not saying you shouldn't be able to upgrade those later or whatever. If you don't already own that, you shouldn't even be able to buy like single ships. That doesn't even make sense to me. And then on top of that, like all the starter packs should come with like just 5,000 UEC as a starter thing, and they should all have lifetime insurance for a starter ship.
And then, I mean, on top of that, the other issue is these guys will start with a ship, and we'll just use the Mustang series as a good example here. You know, they buy the Mustang as what's described on the RSI store as an all-around, multi-purpose ship. And then they start doing missions with it, and like you can't even do a cargo mission or a box mission with it. The cargo bay that's slung underneath it just doesn't work. It's non-functional. And so you get more hurdles that are kind of tacked on as a result. Like the starter ships need to get looked at heavily and get up to snuff because it just creates a bad user experience for these guys, you know, especially with their first play, their first 30 minutes. It's just not fun.
And I think
He's been
and I think one of the sort of just tacking on to Noman's point there, every ship in this game has got a gun attached to it, right? But all ships aren't made equally. Like you get into the PU, you get into Arena Commander, you see guys jumping in there with Auroras and Mustangs, and you know the fact that a ship has got a gun attached to it, you know, it's great, but it's a starter ship. It's $40, it's $60, whatever it may be, and again, it goes back to the descriptions, right? There's like there's CIG has a way of making variants of the same ships, but then so the Aurora LN is potentially a combat version of the whatever the CR or whatever these other like things are, and people get this thing in their head that they can just jump into the ship, strap a couple of guns that are already on it, and go in there and blow shit up, right? And some of the descriptions that are on the website are, quite frankly, I think misleading, right? They should tone down a lot of that stuff. An Aurora, a Mustang, LN, whatever it may be, is not a combat ship. It's essentially a very low tier starter, maybe transport ship. You can run a couple of box missions with it. I've seen people, loading up the back of an Aurora LN full of boxes and doing stuff, and that's all great. But you don't take that ship into combat and expect to come out victorious most of the time, right? Things along those lines. And, the whole insurance thing, it's just, people have done videos on it, a lot better descriptions than what we're going to do here. But the idea of 6 months versus 10 years versus lifetime, I mean, it's just such a misnomer, right? Dudes, just like Reyne said, give everybody lifetime insurance and be done with it. Right?
Exactly.
I mean,
they've already got War Bond. That's a cheaper buy-in, right?
Yeah.
That if they want to stick with that, okay. I'm a fan of it. Do I think it punishes existing backers? Yes, but whatever. If you want to stick with it, that's fine. But we got to have LTI on everything. I think for people to spend that amount of money, the amount of money that they would spend on a normal full game, they're spending on one ship. Just give them LTI.
And I think
it doesn't really make sense.
And I think there should be a recommended ship that CIG recommends to new players, right? So right now, Avenger Titan seems to be the ship, that is, about $60 or whatever it is, and new players can jump into it, and with a couple of little upgrades here and there, can be effective in the game. That should be that should be up there on their website saying this is your recommended first ship. And if you want to spend some more, you can spend here, or if you can spend there, or even answer a questionnaire. What do you want to be in Star Citizen? Do you want to be a trader? Do you want to be a pirate? Do you want to be a combat pilot? And then if you answer those questions, you get a list of ships, starting, medium, high tier that you can pick. Stuff like that. I mean, who knows? But
yeah, make it a lot easier.
It would. Sorry, Reyne, you were going to say something?
You know, another
Oh, Nohman, go.
I
No,
was just gonna say,
pretty much disagreeing with you.
you know, another reoccurring trend that I've seen through the guide system is the constant question of, okay, so I buy this ship, right, and it has 3 months insurance. What happens if I, get sick and I'm in the hospital, or something happens and I have to step away from my computer for a while and I can't play, and my insurance, expires and I don't notice and it blows up? Is $45, $60, $90, is that just gone? Is it just out the
Hundreds of
window?
dollars?
$100, yeah. I mean, and I tell them that my assumption is that CIG isn't stupid enough to do that, because that it would just be shooting themselves in the foot there, and that you will probably lose your ship if you die and you don't have insurance on it, but you're only losing the components and you'll get the whole back. But that's just an assumption on my part. I don't know for sure. Again, like insurance costs, what is it going to cost to maintain my insurance? Should I go through the gray market and get a ship with LTI instead and then upgrade? And I gotta shrug. I don't know. Nobody really knows. LTI is just, everybody applies an artificial value to it because we don't know what the value actually is. We don't know how valuable it's going to really be late game or long term. And so people just get so wrapped up around that.
But what does LTI really mean in the end of it, right? It means that you never have to worry about insurance in the game when the game goes live, when it's a real thing. If you get 6 months insurance, 12 months insurance, and you play I think Chris has said this, and I think other people, the devs, have explained this. If you play the game any amount of time, let's say you play an hour or a couple of hours a week, if you have 6 months insurance, you will be able to continue your insurance upkeep on your ship without having any impact, right? Obviously, the larger the ship, the higher the insurance claim, but you will be able to pay your insurance. So the lifetime insurance is to pay something that potentially is never going to, is going to be so insignificant. It's really not going to matter. So great idea, great way to, create some sort of, premium, whatever they call it. But in the end, it's probably going to be meaningless.
Yeah, I mean, lifetime insurance just doesn't make any, it doesn't make sense not to give it to people. Like, when you think about it, you don't even have to go this far, but if you end up buying a ship for $300, and for some stupid reason the game comes out and there's a chance that you could actually just lose that ship completely. I understand you can earn it back in game, but you shouldn't have to if you've spent hundreds of dollars on the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. And I mean, other games do. And again, I keep using Elite Dangerous as a reference, but other games use insurance at the time of claim. So an example, when your ship blows up in Elite Dangerous, you get the base price of the ship, and then the insurance cost is calculated on the base price plus all the upgrades of the ship. So the insurance claim will be dynamic. And if you end up in a situation in Elite, I think, where you can't pay the insurance because you don't have enough money, you can't use that particular ship in the verse, or you can use it, but if it gets blown up, you won't be able to claim it back. So you can take a lower risk option, and you're always working on the idea that I need enough money to cover the cost of those ships. So, in the, 600 to 1,000 hours, I think I played Elite Dangerous, I never got to a point where base insurance, I couldn't cover the insurance of the ship. Yeah, I played for a few hours a day, an hour a day, and I was always able to keep that insurance cost in the back of my brain and ready to go just in case I needed to claim a ship. So, CIG's got a lot of work to do with insurance, and hopefully we'll get some feedback on it, but I don't know. I think LTI is probably overrated. Like you said, we should just give it to everybody and be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody here has some fairly expensive ships. Does anyone here have ships that don't have LTI that cost you a few $100s?
I mean, I bought I guess you can say a Banu Merchantman with store credit, and it's only got 6 months, and that's $350. So it's just that's just crazy.
Right. I don't know. I don't know if anyone that's got lifetime insurance on anything like that is actually going to be mad if everybody gets lifetime insurance on everything all of a sudden. The only people that might be mad are gray market buyers.
I was just gonna say gray market.
No, that's gray market. That's your own sort of choice to go buy from there, right?
My first game package was a 6-month insurance on an Andromeda, and I went on this hype train like everybody else, and I started upgrading ships with LTI tokens and whatever's to try and get there. And then eventually I just stopped. I just said enough's enough, right? 5 years, 10 years, was it 3 years, 2 years, whatever the upgrade things were enough. It was just stupid to chase LTI around.
Yeah.
What's this? Yeah. Render Dragon in chat also just mentioned that 120-month insurance is basically LTI, but it's also not. Like, what's the deal with that? I don't understand why they would even bother.
I have no idea.
I mean, if you're talking 6 months versus 120 months, if you average out how long somebody plays this game a week, 120 months worth of insurance is a shit ton. So, yeah. I mean, this is the point, right? These guys are now offering, 5 years or 10 years insurance on the last set of sales that we've had, which is essentially unlimited. If you play this game for 10 years, well done, right? I mean, to get 10 years of in-game time or 10 years of actual gameplay, that's like people playing EVE, right? They've played for their entire career almost playing this game. You're never going to run out of insurance. It's crazy. There you go. 120 months, 10 years worth of insurance, basically.
That's the thing. EVE, I believe, is now 15 years old. Something like that. You would have run out 5 years ago, and you wouldn't have that ship no more.
Right.
And there are lots of people, the EVE is full of veteran players that have started right from the beginning. I know quite a few of them. Right? And EVE is crazy, though. EVE those players don't even have their characters maxed for the most part in skill points because it takes that long.
And Istaf's made a really good point as well in chat is we've actually been playing this game. I've been playing it since 2013. Istaf's almost been playing it for 10 years, right? Like we've actually already been playing this game and using a lot of the spaceships that we've, the insurance claim system since they added. Look, if you're talking about insurance, the best thing they added about insurance was the fact that whatever I bought, I just got back anyways. That was essentially one of the best things they added, right? Or you'd never go and upgrade a ship in the game. Now, people have been playing for 4, 5, 6 years, 1, 2, 3 years, whatever, and your real time, the game hasn't even started yet. So by the time this game becomes real, some players are going to be playing this game for like 10, 12, 13 years already before it goes live. It's insane to think about it, but there you go.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of move on here because we have kind of a decent segue into something Golo wanted to talk about, which was the alien sale.
We got these. We've got these new alien ships. Well, I shouldn't say brand new, but we've got the sale, and it's like we just got done with Invictus. And now it's only 6 months insurance on these ships. That's just crazy. And they're not cheap. They're not cheap ships at all. So it makes no sense. They should do 120 months or just have LTI and be done with it.
Alien tax.
Yeah, I don't know. It just makes no sense for stuff to be this expensive and you only have 6 months.
Yeah. Well,
especially when they just had Invictus. Right, in the Invictus week, they had ship at a certain set of ships every 2 days. I mean, yeah, to me that's just a huge. Think about it. That's just a crazy difference.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, yeah, we did just spend a bunch of time talking about how even 120 months is ridiculous, but then to go from Invictus offering everybody 120 month insurance on everything to this,
we had 20 times longer insurance on any of the ships purchased during Invictus than the alien sale. That's ridiculous. 20 times longer insurance on those, Invictus ships.
So
When it makes me wonder how they're valuing insurance, because like they seem to actually care what ships get what insurance and at what sales and times. So like, what's the value to them of insurance?
I think it's
Is it a money thing?
I think it's this whole artificial scarcity thing, right? I mean, you buy a Scythe, you buy a Glaive, you buy, the Asperia, Prowler, whatever, right? Anything alien comes with this kind of, rarity thing attached to it, I guess, that it's something special. And maybe the 6 months is, you don't pull it out of the garage that often or whatever. I don't know. But it just, like, to Golo's point, we just had this huge Invictus sale and everything got slapped with 10 years insurance. Couple of weeks later, we have another sale and you're back to 6 months. Okay, please explain. I don't understand, but alien tax? I don't.
Alien tax, man. I don't know.
I'm not too sure.
It's again like LTI is like a holographic Charizard, and everybody wants it, but we really don't know what the numerical like value will be. On the books, how valuable is it really going to be?
Well, if it really is
it's
a
just,
holographic
again, it's just a
Charizard.
great artificial.
So the other thing that's interesting for me is buying an alien ship right now, bar a couple of them, is pretty much a waste of time. Like, we know the new patch is coming. We know things potentially are going to change. But buying anything alien right now, but barring a Prowler, in the combat space is basically just kicking yourself in the face, isn't it?
I don't know, Jolly. I mean, having a size 7 auto gimbaled tachyon laser beam, that could be pretty nasty. Just kidding.
And Render Dragon, just said, buy a G12 and then do a cross chassis upgrade. But isn't that just kind of silly? Like, I need to buy another vehicle or ship with LTI to upgrade it to another ship so the LTI carries over. It's just so unnecessarily complicated.
Yeah, if you can already do that,
It's
why
just-
even bother putting, right? Like, why even bother putting 6 months insurance on anything?
But do you think CIG does this because, and it just dawned on me, do you reckon CIG does this because they want to make it more complicated? It's all part of the game experience. Like, I know it's a shitty experience, but hey, dudes, I'm sitting next to the water cooler or the virtual water cooler, and it's like, hey, did you know you could cross sashi upgrade this to that, and you can do this and go left and right and get this, and you can get what you need. Like, hey, I bet you the new player doesn't understand this shit, but we do. It's like some cool thing. I don't know. Like,
we're out here metagaming the story.
Yeah, tribal knowledge.
Yeah, it's a metagaming thing, right? It's like tribal knowledge. Exactly. It's something that us backers understand. Exactly. Complexity is sort of gameplay in some respect outside of the game itself. I just realized that people make videos about this, and it's like, hey, you've got to do this and you've got to do that, and if you jump on one foot and get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and spam the buy button, you're going to be able to get this thing that nobody else has got, and then walk around swinging dicks going, hey, look what I got, buddy. Right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a thing. We've been doing this for how long? 10 years now, and it's actually got more complicated?
Yep. I mean, it seems to be constantly getting more and more complicated.
I mean, I've been here since 2013, and I still do not understand all the upgrade options and how to do this and how to do that. And, I've still got to ask people how this shit works. And if veteran players don't understand this shit, despite a gazillion videos on this, imagine the poor new player. He's just he or she is going to be, sorry, there's probably one girl playing this game, I know, but he or she is going to be sitting there just tearing their hair out. No pun intended for Jolly, but tearing their hair out going, what the fuck have I got myself into?
Yeah, that's how I felt with Warbond. I mean, I remember when they first introduced that, and I was like, what tomfoolery bullshit is this? Like, I can't use any of my store credit to upgrade it into another ship? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, Makes my eyes twitch.
But you could,
Yeah, the warm
you could.
spawn doesn't make sense.
It does. It absolutely makes no sense. I mean, it does make sense because they want more money. That's what it basically gets. Starlion made another good point here. The actual melt and buyback game. I knew guys who had 400 buyback tokens sitting there, or 400 CCU cross chassis upgrades. They would literally just collect these things, and they'd become their own little tiny broker outside of the game. Then what did CIG do? They came along and they abolished $0 CCU upgrades. The minimum you could do was a $5. They realized they weren't making money, and they plugged the money gap. War bonds, now, boom, all of a sudden we want to keep that real money coming in, right? Oh, smart. Like, they're not that stupid, guys. There's a way smarter than we are. And we keep giving them money.
I did think that was, I do think that's really frustrating, that I can't upgrade straight across to something that costs the exact same amount. It doesn't make me want to go and just buy that ship, right? It just makes me want to melt my ship and go buy it.
So here's the thing, right? I mean, if you think about it, the reason why some of us are so invested in this is because of the original model, which didn't have warp on, it started off as this tiny snowball, right? And we just kept adding to it and adding to it. And we followed it with this new ship. And we're like, oh, we're just so close to it. We can still keep LTI. We just kept upgrading. And, now it's just like, nope, screw you guys. You guys put enough money in. We just want new money. It's like, why? So now what you're seeing is you're seeing veteran backers who probably would spend money, just not spending money. They're just not. They're like, I'll just get it off the gray market or get a CCU and just be done with it.
But in saying that, these guys made 15 million last month, right? Like, holy shit. Like, I don't know where the money's coming from, but CIG kicking goals, right? Like, literally, they've literally just kept making more and more and more. And I don't know about you, but I bought something this sale. Every one of us here probably we say that we don't want to do it, but we find ourselves like handing our wallets over, doing this. No. Here, take my money.
I mean, I bought a paint job for the Arrow.
Okay, well, I bought a paint job for the Arrow and I bought a Harbinger, but I literally say every month I am not going to spend any more money on this game. And what do I find myself doing? Throwing money at the screen.
Yeah, well, I bought a Mantis and a Hawk, so.
I just think to myself, if this whole system was a little less convoluted, how much more money could they make? It's almost a barrier to entry, in my personal opinion, with just how overwhelming this can all be for a new player trying to come into the game. If it was more streamlined, a little bit more simple, right, and a little less convoluted, I wouldn't be surprised if they made 20 million instead. It's just unnecessarily complicated.
Mate, what about if the Invictus servers and everything was like perfect? Imagine how much more they would have made, right? Like,
oh yeah, no kidding.
My God, that's another big problem.
Right, people threw $15 million at the screen, and the servers were down half the time. I mean, this is segueing into our next topic, Golo, but basically, they could have made 30 if everything ran like clockwork.
Yeah, they could have made way more money if it would have just worked. I mean, the fact that we got servers going down, they're degrading. I mean, we got people that can't, equip. They can't sell their ships in AC. Heck, I mean, they can't even go into Star Marine and equip guns. They're like missing. I mean, so they've got to do something about the servers. They should have probably did a full wipe before Evictus, just to make sure everything was all cleared up. There was not, just to have the best player experience for everybody. Because here's the thing. It's not just about new players coming in. It's about getting active players involved as well so that they can work with and play with these new players. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and through the guide system, again, I almost felt like I had to apologize. I told these guys, you're coming in the middle of 3.9, and let me tell you, it's just a rough patch. I wish you would have come in, 3.8, 3.8.2. It would have been a much better experience for you, but, hold on tight because it's going to be rough these next couple days as you try and play, and your experience will vary.
I mean, we can't do private stuff. I mean, one of the things I like to do is do private testing or, training too. And it's just like, I mean, there's just a lot of BS we have to go through right now. I mean, we just had an event with BSI. It was a lot of fun, but it was just like we had to, invite a squad 1 in, then they had to put their squad, 1 in, then we had to put squad 2 in, and then they had to put their squad 2 in, just so we could get a squadron battle where if just private would work.
So,
oh my God, we could just do
it.
Golo,
hold on.
taking a step
before we continue.
Yep.
I just wanted to remind everybody in chat, we're going to answer some of your guys' specific questions. And this is looking like it's going to be one of our sort of final topics here. Sorry, by the way, we're keeping it kind of short today, but after this topic is done, we'll start answering questions. So if you guys want to start putting questions, maybe just put like question in brackets before it. Then we'll know to address that at the end.
So just to Golo's point, what we talked about earlier, right? I mean, just taking a step back, in Victor Sale, we saw a shit ton of server-related issues, 16K errors, all sorts of weird things that basically stop people getting in game, stop people seeing friends lists, all sorts of really, sort of super annoying game-breaking issues. I mean, it was literally plaguing the experience. And CIG, to their credit, they put up this website talking about server status, which unfortunately really didn't reflect the current status of servers. Right, it was a great effort, and I applaud the fact that we've now got one of these. But the problem is, it just what was reality and what was on the status page was completely another universe. Taking that into and translating that, and then things quieten down for a while. All of a sudden, a new sale pops up. You jump into something like Arena Commander or Star Marine. Like we planned to spend a lot of time in Arena Commander and Star Marine, and rentals just didn't work. Like, the rental system fails in Arena Commander. So everybody's back to whatever their base ship purchases were to be able to fight in Arena Commander. And that's seen a huge decline in the amount of people playing Arena Commander as a result.
Yeah, not to mention you can't even switch your ship reliably.
Right.
So whatever ship you used in there last, maybe you accidentally clicked on Starfarer or something. You're stuck. That's it.
Yep.
I mean, great idea, but guys, I'd like someone from CIG to come out and tell us what is going on. Is there some fundamental database set of issues? I don't know if they have or they haven't. I don't do Spectrum very often. But is there some fundamental database issue that they're trying to wrestle with? Is there some sort of, virus? Is the internet running out of, gigabits to push whatevers? Is AWS just someone to turn around and tell us honestly what's going on? We'd understand. That's the frustrating part for me. I'm a person that likes to be told something and explain to me logically what's going on. And one of the big failings, I think, of CIG at times is their inability to be transparent with the community around what the hell is going on. It's a shame.
It goes right back into retention for new players and senior players alike, the vets and the brand new people coming into the game. They're trying to play AC for the first time. They can't select their ship. They can't change their loadout. They don't know why. They get into the PU. They get random 30Ks, over and over again. It's just the user experience is just too varied at the moment. There's not enough consistency.
Yeah. I mean, when you start putting out, we start putting out 30K safe trading guides, it's probably the most boring topic in the world, right? But when it gets a shit ton of hits and people are actually looking for ways to trade safely, shameless plug for Renegade Squadron and their video series. But when you start putting out, videos along, you have to put that sort of stuff out. Wow, things are pretty tough.
Yeah. Golo, your mic's muted, by the way.
That was it.
There you go.
And guys, if you want a link to our
Um,
YouTube, I just put the YouTube link in chat there. So
Yeah, not only did we put out, or Tazius put out a video called 30K Safe Trading, but it was one of our most popular videos to date. And it blew up really fast.
Renegade Squadron, Combat Squadron, also 30K Safe Squadron. Like, that's so happy to do now, right? Like, all right, there you go.
You need guides on how to work around bugs in the game.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's always going to be the case with this, right? And, you know, and again, trying to balance this up. For every time we shit can CIG about how crap things are, I realize what these guys are doing, right? I see the progression in the game. I see these guys moving forward. Every time I look at a frickin' planet, it looks amazing. There's more gameplay than there's ever been. It's just super annoying. You know, at least it'd be really nice if someone from CIG stood up in front of us every week and said, hey, we just got some big issues, boys. We're trying to work through stuff. But we get Inside Star Citizen, we get this, we get that. I never see anything negative coming out of Star Citizen or the CIG community teams. It's mostly, this is, you know, we're developing this feature, we're developing that feature. We get it. But tell us how good or how bad things are at the moment. That would go down really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
What it kind of feels like is basically, I mean, to me anyways. Oh. Hey, Golo.
Oh, hang on. We lost Golo. What happened?
I'm here.
Oh, we just lost your camera. Oh, there you go. Hang on, you're coming back. There you go.
There we go. That should have fixed everything. Perfect. Yeah, basically what it sort of feels like to me is they basically have this Windows operating system that has a bunch of registry errors that nobody knows how to fix and nobody wants to hit the reset button.
Yeah.
So here's my final question. How many times have you guys have to reset your account in the last month?
Oof.
At least 4 times.
Right.
Once every 3 days, roughly.
Yeah, I'd say probably like 6 or 7 times.
So I managed to get away without resetting my account until last week. For like it's been a month, 2 months before that, and last week I reset my account twice. And you know, the fact that CIG has given us a page where we can reset our accounts, God help, you know, I feel sorry for the concierge help desk people. They must have like been like, dudes, we get so many of these things. Why don't you just automate this process? That's what it's like at the moment. And the reset doesn't even work properly all the time. It doesn't do what it says on the sticker. Right?
Sometimes you do multiple resets because, you know, like for example, I had a Eclipse that was missing an engine, so I reset it. Well, I reset it, and next thing you know, I couldn't take beacons anymore. So it's just kind of frustrating. It's like you're sometimes trading one bug for another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's
or,
conversation.
You know, duplicate chips with every reset.
And I think this is a conversation about something seriously wrong with their database, and potentially there's going to be a discussion at some point in the future, or they're going to find some way to tell us in the future that they're going to have to reset the entire database, because everything to me around the database at the moment feels like it's Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my prediction.
Moving on from that, I guess I wanted to. I did want to go back to the Inside Star Citizen really quick, just as our sort of final topic. This is kind of short and sweet. Is the Microtech flagship store on New Babbage? I think is going to be kind of cool. They talked about Mobi-Glass and the AR contacts that they're going to be putting in those stores. Whether those are player purchasable right off the bat or not, I don't know. I'm assuming they will be, but I think it'll be cool to be able to like buy sort of the Mobi-Glass that you want type deal, right? If that's just like changing colors or something, or I don't know how it'll change anything necessarily. I have no clue about any of that, but I don't know. Nohman, what do you think, being somebody who does like the guide system lots? Do you think having the ability to to maybe have different Moby glasses and stuff might actually help.
I mean, I think it's a bit gimmicky personally. Granted, anything that makes the game more immersive, I'm a huge fan of. If I had to guess, like you just said, it'll probably be different variations of color on the HUD, maybe some different, I don't know, maybe the art styling might be a little bit different from one version to the next, but anything that allows me to kind of further immerse myself into the game, or customize my character, or just the overall experience, that's good in my book. I'm happy with that. What we're actually going to get, don't really know, but I support it all the same.
That's fair. Anyone else have any comment on that?
Microtech is snowy. It's cool. I like the aesthetic, but yeah, who cares at the moment? Make my current Moby glass work, I guess. I mean, and then
yeah, and see, that's kind of like, again, I didn't want to get too negative here, but yeah, I'm with you. That's another thing. Is it necessary right now for something like this? I would say no, and I would much rather see some effort and work go into other things, and just kind of getting the overall experience improved before they start adding something like this. But it is what it is. I'm not a developer, and I don't make video games, so I don't really have much of a say in this.
None of us do, mate.
Just my 2
None
cents.
of us do, but
yeah,
I'm not being negative. What I'm trying to say is, let's get what we currently have working properly, and then we can move on to other stuff. I mean, throwing in another Moby glass that's going to have the same issues as this Moby glass, while it's cool to have at some point in the future, maybe there's 10 parallel teams working and they're developing stuff in parallel, really doesn't add anything to my gameplay that I can't already get from my currently, working Moby glass. I mean, I love it. Great idea.
And I agree.
Is it really needed now? Probably
same.
not. Who cares? Let's move on.
That's fair. Yeah. So I guess we're going to take a few questions if anyone has any, anyways. Does anyone in chat have any questions that you guys wanted to ask us?
So Istaf just put up a question. That was a big one. Wow, holy crap. What do you think about removing ships from game packages? If someone doesn't have a ship, then they get a random weekly ship like an MR or an Alpha Avenger, even in rented form, so they can upgrade but can at least play. Once you buy a ship, everything works normally. What do you reckon, guys?
I totally agree with that. I think you should be able to buy a game package without a ship attached to it. I am consistently frustrated with that because I don't want to have my game package have like my Mantis on it, which it does, right? And I also don't want to go buy I don't want to go buy a game package and a Mantis separately because I'm paying extra money for a ship like the Mustang Alpha or whatever that I'm never going to use personally.
Yeah. Hell, just give them all of those ships and let them try before they buy. You know what I mean? Yeah, they can't upgrade it, they can't customize it, that's fine, but at least they can, kind of fine-tune exactly what they would want to get. They'd have at least an...
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of having, the ships just kind of be like a token system. Just you get a token for the game, token for Squadron 42, and, you would just add your ship on top of that. And who knows, they might turn around and say, who knows, those tokens could be for NPCs, right? That could be another thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think, so I don't claim to own this thought, but I think a little bit of Madness mentioned it once on his podcast, talking about giving people a group of ships to play with. So like you say, Golo, you buy a token for the game, maybe you get 3 or 4 ships you can choose from that. The whole purpose of this is to test a ship or test, game mechanics in game. Give somebody a mining ship, give somebody a combat ship, give somebody a trading ship, and let them run through those game loops over and over. That kind of evens out the play field a little, whether it's a rental ship or whatever. Like, at the moment you have to subscribe to get that, subscriber ship of the month, which is more money for CIG. But even, like you say, just buy a game package. That package essentially just buys you a token, and monthly you get switched out different ships, so you can try mining this month and go and rent, mine a shit ton and then go and buy another ship, do whatever you want to do, and at least be able to test that whole gameplay loop. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. And, you know, with the guide system, one thing I usually do is, you know, I just tell them buy the cheapest ship possible, grab an Aurora, and once you actually have the game installed and we meet up and we're in game, you know, we can just call in each one of these ships one after the other. You can walk around inside of them and figure out which one you like the best and then make a smart, informed decision before you buy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that would be a great idea.
So I think we've got another question for Mistaf. Would a mission/quest chain for a new player that directs them where to go, what things are, etc., be a good way to teach them new players the game? What do you guys think?
Yes, absolutely.
So we used to have it, if you remember, way back, didn't we, Golo?
Yep. There was a tutorial.
Yeah, there was actually
There was a
there was
tutorial?
actually a tutorial.
Yep.
Yeah, that did exactly that.
Yep, you can walk up to the Gladius.
Yep. You can YouTube it and watch the whole thing.
Yeah. It was, walk up to the Gladius, get into the Gladius, go for a fly, do whatever you got to do. It taught players how to play the game, or at least how to fly a ship and whatever. But I think to Estaf's point, you could have new player missions where a new player would have to qualify to be a pilot, as an example, right? Or qualify to be a trader, and they run through a set of missions that would, hey, this is the, cockpit familiarization mission or whatever to understand how the cockpit layout works. This is the trading one. This is the combat one. This is the whatever. The possibilities are endless. And you make a bit of UEC along the way. That would be fun.
Does Elite Dangerous still have their tutorial?
They do.
Because I remember when it was an alpha, it did. And it was a really solid tutorial. All in
It
all.
was. It was also a good way to set up my spaceship, right? Like you'd go through and you do some basic flight stuff and whatever. Again, this is all stuff that probably is going to happen in the future. Just other people are doing it at the moment for CIG.
Charlie, you're roboting a little bit there.
I mean, I usually just recommend people do box missions, and that just kind of, they get a.
All right, I think we're back, boys. Sorry, we lost our. Discord's been having a couple of issues, and I think we lost Discord for a little while. I think we're back.
We are back.
Hopefully, I don't sound too much like Robbie the Robot.
Dead podcast, rip in peace. We're back, though.
We're dead, but we're back.
We're the undead podcast.
We've respawned. All right, so sorry, Nohman, where were you before you so rudely got disconnected?
Oh, no, you're good. No, I was just saying, one thing I always recommend to new players, is doing box missions. It's not particularly fun, at least in my opinion, nor is it very engaging, but it does help kind of get a hang of just flying from point A to point B. You get to see some of the sites and the locations. You get used to using your quantum drive. But again, it's just kind of boring. And, really, it's not very hand-holding either. You kind of have to figure all that stuff out as you do it. So yeah, definitely adding some tutorial missions. Like you said, Jolly, your mission is to sit down and master your MFDs, something to that effect, or just adding the tutorial back into the game. I would much rather have that than, getting a new map in Arena Commander, for instance. Get the tutorial up and running just to help with player retention.
Yeah, I mean, I look, it'll happen. I'm sure it'll happen. It's just not a priority for CIG. They've played around with shit like that in the past.
Jolly, you're roboting again.
we're going to lose everybody.
Oof. Well, I think his stream can hear him.
Yeah,
okay.
so I think
All right.
I think
Yeah,
my stream.
he's fine on stream. It's just in Discord. He's
I think
roboting,
my stream's fine. So, guys, what I might do is, unless there's any other questions, we might call the podcast here because we're having a lot of issues with Discord at the moment. Can you guys hear me okay still, or am I still roboting to you? Apparently, I'm roboting. Okay.
Yeah, you're fine on your stream, Dolly.
Okay. So maybe, guys, unless there are any other questions, I'm happy to. Yeah, we just lost Discord again. Oh no, hang on. I should be back again. How's that?
Yeah, sorry. I changed the server region. You're good to go now.
Okay.
Oh.
So maybe the server region was a problem. All right. So guys, are there any other questions? Let's go and grab some more questions before we head off. Is there anything else? CIG runs Discord servers.
No, it's turbulent.
No.
I guess that's not CAG, right?
Any other questions, guys? Or are we going to wrap it up here?
I think we wrap her up for the night, guys. A little bit shorter podcast today, but next week we should have a normal length hour to hour and a half podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks for coming, and fly safe. We'll see you next week.
Take it easy, everyone.
See you
Bye.
guys.